Ruggedly handsome, all right.
Was floating on a lily pad, and the Swedish bikini team was reciting positive reviews of Naked Heat.
So, Michael, just because I think he's shooting right now, tell me, your opinion of how Nathan is doing portraying an actual novelist on the show Castle.
I don't recognize anything about Nathan's performance that is like my life at all. Is that
better
awesome?
or worse?
Awesomer.
More awesome.
Hey guys, what are you talking about?
No, we're just
chatting.
We were talking
Sorry, I'm
about.
late. Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's fine. Michael was just complimenting your performance as Castle.
Spot on.
Very kind.
Spot
Thank
on
you,
as a
Michael.
writer.
Incredibly
Thank you.
Accurate.
I've started reading your books.
Oh, great.
I'm a slow reader, and I move my mouth when I read. But I'm on
Very
it.
impressed
Join
by
the club.
Very impressed by the
one.
acknowledgments.
And the covers are good.
So you're doing a talk today about what it's like to be a writer, what it's like to write about a writer, what it's like to film a writer,
Make pictures of words.
and be a graphic novelist about writers. Writing.
Yes, writing things, yes.
Writings.
Right.
And you're here to talk about playing a writer. What's it like for you to play a writer?
Here's something I'll tell you. Through the magic of television, if you ever see a laptop in front of me and I'm actually typing, it doesn't matter what I hit. Words just appear.
Just the right
It's
words
automatic.
come up.
It's automatic. I'm going.
We call that
I'm
the
reading it
muse.
as I go, going. This is great.
That's great stuff.
No, I'm looking for the episode. I'm looking for the Real Writers episode where he's just sitting there, like, picking stuff out of his keyboard and doing anything but writing. You know,
That would be me.
I'm looking for the episode of 24 where, it's the day after and Jack Bauer is just sort of hanging out home in his T-shirt. too.
Exactly.
Nobody wants to see it.
I'd be wasting like 3 hours looking for my can of
Sharpening
dust off.
pencils, right?
Oh,
the
yeah.
writer sharpening his pencils and,
Everything else in the
making
house
sure
is
that the
perfectly
coffee
clean,
is
but
perfectly
he hasn't
made.
written.
And, yeah,
Yeah.
Playing Angry Birds and not taking calls.
that's right.
How do you stop the enemy of distraction?
It's tough. I mean, you try to get momentum in what you're doing and don't let anything get in the way of that. But it's tough to get going. It's like, the snowball going down the hill, very slow at first, and then if you're lucky enough to get it going, you don't let anything interrupt you.
Is that on the day or is that the whole project? Like the first
both.
couple?
Now Andrew's is getting advice.
Yeah, it's both. It's both, yeah. Yeah, I mean,
Is there anyone looming over you, behind you, going, "Hey, man, 3 pages today would be really great"?
no, I mean yourself. But no, I mean, that's what I love about your show is that it's an introverted person's sport. You go in a cave and you write, and for me, the great times or the good parts of the job are when I am with cops and so forth, and I'm seeing the things that inspire me. But then you got to take that back and fight yourself. You go in the room and either do it or not do it, and it can be hard, and then it can get easier as you get momentum going. So.
Well, and also, don't you find that this is what you would be doing? Like, if you had a job, the distraction would be you'd be writing and
Right.
not doing your job.
Yeah.
And that's what I was like. I was making these comics for free when no one was looking. So this is my hobby. So I'll just do that all day.
Well, I mean, I did this part-time and at night and on weekends, till I got established. And my daytime job is a newspaper reporter, but I haven't been a newspaper reporter in 15 years, yet I can't get that out of my mind. I still feel like I'm a newspaper reporter, and that's what I'll always be. And it's just like my mindset.
I worked at a newspaper for 2 years too. I was the cartoonist. I was the
I delivered papers for a little while.
Same thing.
Oh, my
Exactly
God.
the same thing. Yes.
yeah.
I felt like I was really
Good experience.
hard-hitting news, getting it to the people.
Well, what was your reaction when they came to you and said, we want you to play a writer? And you must have thought, like, well, don't writers sit in a chair all day long? And what's so exciting about that?
Well, I was able to read the script before I knew anything about the show. What I knew about the show was it was called Castle. So, anyone's guess what it was. It could have been a period piece.
It was originally set in medieval times with a medieval wrher.
It was originally set at medieval times.
That's right.
The pizza restaurant. But
That's not a bad pitch.
but yeah. So it was. So what I saw was a guy getting a chance to go on an adventure. So I think that's something I like to see on TV. Someone actually getting to live the fantasy, as I do every day.
Well, we've been talking about all the different aspects of writing and visualization, and we were just getting to, the poker games and what they mean to the show. We've talked about how the writers or sort of a second tier of scrutiny for your fictionalized versions of the real cases. You know, Beckett and the guys and the captain give you their first, like, well, no, it wouldn't happen that way. But how the slightly more hard-boiled version of scrutinizing, you're trying to figure out the real case, pitching it to them as though it's part of your book and you're having a problem. And the fun of dealing with, you know, hard-boiled, authentic writers. And
Lending their validity.
yeah.
How does that feel to have me riding your coattails like that?
It's good.
Cheaping?
I mean,
Do you feel cheap?
no.
Okay, good.
I feel good about it. I'm here for you.
Do people recognize you now from the on-air appearances on the show?
Yeah. I mean, I got to say, I mean, I guess this is not a good thing to say about me, but since I've been on the show, wherever I go, like if I'm on a book tour or something, it's always one of the first things brought up. The recognition factor from it is quite amazing.
Yeah, do you get recognized from the show?
When I'm out, yeah.
Oh yeah.
I spend a lot of time here, but when I am out, and good too that it's people like the show, so you don't want to be recognized for a show that nobody likes.
That's true.
So this is the good part about being recognized. I love your work.
Have you ever been asked?
Very good.
Have you ever been asked? And I know you're short on time, but have you ever been asked to sign an autograph as Richard Castle? Honestly,
Yes.
like they don't know you as Nathan. They think you're.
Not that they think that I'm Richard. People meet me, they go, "Oh, that's Nathan Fillion from the TV show. Would you sign this book, but as Richard Castle?" It's like, you could get your cousin to do that. But all right, no problem. Whatever floats your boat.
Well, but here you're coming from the world of the hardcore Comic-Con universe that we both have lived in, and so you're coming out of the Firefly universe where people thought there was a ship and you were the captain. And
No, I didn't get that. The only time I've had the fandom that couldn't really draw the line between the fantasy and the reality was the soaps.
Really?
Soaps was a particular breed. It was a very interesting experience. But the sci-fi fans are very, very clever. I find what's neat about this mainstream thing where it kind of ties into the sci-fi folks, they collect. They want the books, they want the action figures, the comics, the things. And now we've given these mainstream fans the books. They now have the books, and the graphic novel will become. Now they're kind of sharing in that kind of fandom that rolls with the cons.
I have to say, because I cut the poker game in the last episode with the empty chair from Cannell.
Not to say you cut it out, but that you edit it. You're editing it.
Edit it.
I edited it.
Yeah, I was thinking, what? I've been cut out?
Cutting is
My big moment?
sort of the shop version title of editing, but you had a very nice moment up to when Alex went to sit down in the chair, and a very nice ramp away from that. And it seemed very honest to me, and I'm just wondering, because I've never had a chance to ask you, what were you thinking? Because you played it beautifully, but there was a real moment being experienced there.
That's one of those things where you don't have to worry about acting, because everything we're dealing with is absolutely real.
Yeah.
There's a chair there where Stephen Cannell used to sit.
Yeah, it was a beautiful. The scene is a fun SmackDown scene to get Alex's up and comings for, what he may or may not have been doing with Beckett. But we carved out. Andrew and I want to make sure that moment was honest and sincere, and there was lots of very good footage of you. And so, coming into a scene which is okay, this guy's going to get his head handed to him, and then surprisingly there's an empty chair. The audience doesn't know what it is. He pulls it out, and the scene shifts quickly and deeply into, a fallen friend, and then had to shift back into the SmackDown. And it was, I think, rhythmically, Andrew and I wouldn't normally do that. You'd line up one and then carry on, but to break it. But with the footage I had of you, and I'm looking at you, moving into it and moving away from the moment, there was something going on, and I was just curious.
Well, we all know Stephen Cannell, lovely man, passed away, but the reality, doesn't set in until the next time you're supposed to see him, and you don't.
Yeah.
And that was my moment.
Yeah. Well played.
There you go.
Well played. All right. Do you need to go?
I think I need to go make a TV show.
Okay.
All right, don't blow this.
Michael, you were saying about Nathan's performance is.
Yeah.
I can still hear you.
Sorry.
But you were talking about the transition to being an on-air personality and what that was like for you. Do you think that you were a particularly good version of yourself?
I think I was getting better at it.
Yeah.
Or I'm getting better at
No.
it. It's interesting. I mean, you know, it's, as I said, it's introverts become writers, and especially in this world of crime fiction. You know, you spend 10 months in your cave, and then for 6 weeks a year, you're a public personality, and you're in stores, and you're on TV shows and things like that. It's a weird contradiction, and this only adds to it. You know, that I'm playing myself. I have that wonderful line in this last show, which I'm so proud of, but I didn't write that line. Someone wrote it for me, and I know I'll get laughs about that wherever I go. It's a little bit surreal, but
What was the line?
fun. When I tell Alex, the new guy, you said, how many books have you written? He said, just one. And I said, well, you know what I did after I wrote my first book? I shut up and I wrote 23 more. And that's the smackdown.
That was funny, and I'll just because I have to say this is on day one with Michael, and I can't quote the conversation, but you know, what do you want me to do is the question I remember, and I said, just play yourself. It's an interesting moment for a person to say, well, to portray myself is different than just existing as myself. It was the same conversation I had with Cannell, who said, well, how do you want me to play it? I said, well, if we can get any of that 800-pound gorilla that I knew and convey that to the audience and be sort of tough and hard as nails to Castle, as each one of you ended up being, that would be enough. And it's just it's a very interesting moment for a person to say, just play yourself, because now they have to express this personality that all they do is just walking through the day, just be. There's a truth to it, you can see it in your eyes. So I think the notion of saying, let's get real writers to act and play a scene and give it back to Castle, I think has been successful.
Well, thank you guys for coming out and having this conversation. It's been
great.
great. It's been really great getting the insights on your creative processes.
Until tomorrow, Detective.
You can't just say night.
I'm a writer. Night is boring. Until tomorrow is more hopeful.